Hello, Donnie as well. I'm here again. I got another lesson. And the title is Alcoholic and Drunkards. Alcoholic and Drunkards. Um, the thing about this word is that if it's in there, the Lord put it so you can teach it. Right? He put it in there so you can teach it. And whether it gets in your soul or whether it prick you, whatever it does to you, then that's what it do to you. Whether you change or whether you continue, then that's entirely up to you. And so let's find out what is the meaning of a alcoholic. Actually, say alcoholism. It says a chronic disease characterized by uncontrolled drinking and preoccupation with alcohol. Right? It says chronic. It's a chronic disease. It says alcoholism is the inability to control drinking due to both a physical and emotional dependency on alcohol. So here it is. It's saying that alcohol is a dependent drug, right? So once you start drinking this thing, you start tasting it, then after a while, you could become dependent on it. It says symptoms includes a strong need or urge to use alcohol, use or drink. Those with alcohol use disorder may have problems controlling their drinking. Continue to use alcohol even when it causes problem. So that's how strong this alcohol is. That's what kind of power it has over you. That even though it's hurting you, you still want to drink it. Or have withdrawals. Symptoms when they rapidly decrease or stop drinking. Treatment involves counseling, such as behavioral therapy and medication that reduce the desire to drink. Some people need medication detoxification to stop drinking safely. Drunkard. A person who is a habitual drunk. Right? And I ain't laughing at you, but it's just crazy. A habitual drunk. That means I can't stand drunk. Over and over, a drunkard, right? I'm going to tell you. Before, let me write it down. I forgot. If anybody wants to help the ministry, you could donate to the ministry at $Donnie Israel. All right. So, I've known a few drunks in my life, in my time. Fortunately, the Lord kept me from being a drunkard or an alcoholic. But at the end of the lesson, I'm going to tell you an experience I had, from drinking. Okay? I'm going to tell you an experience I had. All right. So, I knew a few people. Like I knew a guy this guy drink day in, day out. And, he didn't think that he was a alcoholic. The thing about alcoholic is that they don't believe that they're alcoholic. They think everything is cool, that they can control it, right? We're going to find out what the Bible says about that. But they think they can control it, right? Until the next episode. And you got some people that get drunk, stupid drunk, go home and domestic abuse their wife. You got some go home and rape their wife, if you want to call it that. All these things. You got some. I was reading one. I forgot to print it out. This girl back. I think she was 10 years old. The father was used to beat the mom and her. And one day they came home, and while they were sleeping, he killed both of them. The little girl was only 12 years old, I think they said. And he killed both of them in their sleep. Alcoholic. A drunkard. The scripture says, the scripture don't have a problem with drinking. They have a problem with a habitual drunk. A habitual drunk is a sin. A habitual drinker, it's a sin. Every now and then, you may have a Heineken or a Corona, or you might have a glass of wine, or you might have some Cavassier, or you could have some Hennessy. Or, whichever you like. And ain't nothing wrong with that. You have a sip here, have a do. You feel a little mellowed, you relax, and you're cool. But then you got some people that ain't enough. I've seen people drink a 24 pack and it's like nothing. Right? It's like water. Right? I know this guy that he's a painter. And this dude, man, if you come within 5 feet of this dude, you could smell the alcohol coming out of his pores. That is an alcoholic. You could smell it coming out of his pores. You stand around him. I think if you light a match, this dude would go up in flame. How strong the alcohol is coming out of this guy. Right? And this guy stayed drunk all day long. Right? And drinking is dangerous. Right? It's dangerous. So, alright, let me read a couple things, some statistics and some things, right? It says thousands of inebriated pedestrians die each year in traffic accidents, right? It's a bunch of them die. It's 11 p.m. on a Saturday on U Street in Washington, and music is blaring from the glittery bar and club. Many of the partiers will stick around till the bar closes at 3 a.m. Then pour out onto the sidewalk and sometimes into the street. I've seen drunk. This dude is giving it's the Washington Post, and this dude is giving a recurrence of what he's seen. He's a bouncer. I've seen drunk people wandering into the streets about 2 or 3 in the morning like zombies. Said Austin Lone, that's his name, a bouncer checking IDs at Hawthorne, a restaurant with 5 bars, area and DJs on the weekend. When you get drunk, you think you can rule the world. I'm gonna tell you this thing. I remember when we was growing up, right? And I think it was Bruce Lee. He had a movie with Bruce Lee, so you could tell, how old I am, right? And we went to see Bruce Lee, and we came out the theater. Well, this dude wasn't drunk. But this thing where you say you think you could rule the world, right? I guess watching the movie made him drunk, but he came out and he started fighting, doing this thing to people, and somebody beat him up. But anyway, it says you may not be paying attention to anything else that can have deadly consequences. Whether they're emptying out of the bars, going home from football watch parties, or trying to get across the highway, drunk walkers are dying on the road in alarming numbers nationwide. I never even thought about that. A third of pedestrians killed in crashes in 2016 were over the legal alcohol limit for drivers. Right? You hear that? A third. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, that's nearly 2,000 people, up more than 300 since 2014. He said those numbers are pretty shocking, said Jonathan. It says being drunk can affect your judgment and reaction time and result in poor decision making and risky behavior. That story I got to tell you about, let me read it again. Being drunk can affect your judgment and reaction time and result in poor decision making and risky behavior. Right? Alright, what else I got? Okay, another one. This one is alcohol and domestic abuse. Now, we're going to read this. And so take this COVID-19 into consideration, where everybody's at home, nobody got no job. Take this into consideration, okay? Alcohol and domestic abuse are frequently paired. You hear that? Alcohol and domestic abuse go hand in hand. That's what it's saying. However, while alcohol is often involved in issues of intimate partner violence, it is never the sole reason behind it, okay? It may not be the sole reason behind it, but when you get drunk, things happen. All right. The tragedy of alcohol and domestic abuse. Please take a moment. Right? It says, what is domestic abuse? Domestic abuse, often referred to as domestic violence or intimate partner violence, is a pattern of behavior or behaviors used by one partner to maintain power and control over another partner. But don't miss this word. It says, is a pattern. What is a pattern? Something you do over and over again. You may have a pattern that in the morning, on the way out the house, you stop at McDonald's, you get a cup of coffee. Then after that, you stop somewhere and you get a donut, Dunkin' Donuts. Then somewhere else, you go and grab something else, right? And you do that daily. It's a pattern. So that means if it's a pattern, that means this, whichever partner, man or woman, they do this here to their partner sometime daily, sometime weekly, sometime every other day. It's a pattern. All right. So it says another partner that they are in a relationship with. Anyone, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or age, can be a victim or perpetrator of domestic abuse. A good while back, domestic abuse, the law didn't take it serious. Domestic abuse was, you get into some type of domestic abuse with your spouse or significant other, whoever it is, and you get arrested. They might let you sit for a day or maybe two, so you could calm yourself down. But now I think they give you 30 days, automatic. And most of the time when they come to the house, the man is the one that they take. Okay? The man is the one who they take. And the statistics shows why the man goes. Okay? He said abuse can be physical, sexual, like I tell you, orientation. Sorry. The abuse can be physical, sexual, emotional. I don't know which one is worse. Mental, social, and financial. Like I said, take the COVID-19 thing into consideration. Because you hear that, I'll circle it, financial. Right? People can't pay the mortgage right now. People losing the house in probably the next month, they're going to start losing their homes and all these different things. So these drinkers and these drunkards and alcoholics, they're going to wreak havoc. Right? Because they say domestic violence has shot through the roof during COVID-19. It says common tactics that an abusive partner uses to keep their victim in the cycle of an abusive relationship are using coercion and threats. Right? They're using coercion, lies, and threats, and they threaten the person. Right? And you see the news with a lot of these domestic abuse and all these different things that happen. A lot of times what happens? That guy, he is wreaking havoc in the relationship. And so now this woman had enough and wants to leave. And he threatened her that if you leave, it's over my dead body. And we have seen it countless times in the news. A woman come and report the husband. The people say, well, next day, she's dead. Right? I remember I was watching the news in here in Orlando, and this dude, he was an alcoholic. But it was a domestic violence where they say he was some preacher. He was some preacher, and I guess whatever issue he had with his wife. Maybe I think the woman probably wanted to leave or whatever the case is. And the dude went on her job and killed the woman. Right? So this thing is serious. Right? And it happens a lot. Then it says they use intimidation. Right? Like smashing things or displaying weapon. See that? Threaten them, pull out the gun and say, I'll kill you with this thing. See that? Using emotional abuse. Humiliating. Man, you're fat. Man, you used to look good. You know, all these things. It's what the person used against somebody else. Okay? Playing mind games or name calling. Using isolation, right? Controlling communication and time spent with others and using jealousy. Right? And I think this jealousy is what caused this dude to kill his wife. But you see what they do? They separate you from your family, right? So then, look, don't deal with your mama no more. Don't deal with your brother, your sister, your cousin, whoever it is. And so when he starts to put that abuse on you, you have nobody to turn to. This is what they do, right? And I'm going to tell you this. According to what the book says, it says a woman ain't supposed to leave her husband and a man ain't supposed to leave her husband, right? But Moses himself, he said that because of the hardness of these men's heart, he had suffered him to give the woman a written thing of a divorce. Because of how bad they were treating the woman, he tell them, look, just give the woman a divorce. But God came back and he said, it's not so. So I can't tell somebody who's in a position, you know, they come and ask me, man, this is what's happening at the house. This is what my husband doing. You know, and they ask me, well, you know, I said, well, look, this is what the book says. But you're the one that in that position. I can't tell you what to do. And you got children. I'm going to tell you something. That this God, he ain't like what people think he is. This guy is an understanding God. Right? Because if your heart is toward this God, and you make a decision, right, like that, he take everything into consideration. This God ain't just, well, you know, I say you ain't supposed to divorce. You know, I'm just saying that. This is just my thought. Because according to the book says that he say if your righteousness exceed your wickedness, there's a chance that you will be saved. That's what he says. And so, you know, look, I can't tell somebody what to do when they're in that position, right? All right. It says, minimizing, denying, and blaming. Making light of the abuse and blaming the victim, right? It's your fault. You didn't cook when I told you. Or you didn't iron my shirt. You didn't do this. And then the woman will say, well, you know, he didn't mean to do it, you know. I was the one that caused it. And then a month later, she's dead. All right. Using the children. Sending message to the children or threatening to take them. These are the tactics that they use. Right? Using gender privilege. Treating the victim like a servant. Using economic abuse. Right? He's the one, the breadwinner. She the one at home. Right? He the one that bringing in the money. So then what he did. Controlling the money. Preventing or interfering with the victim's job. Then they go out on the job and they, right? It's a disease, right? These alcoholic and these drunkard are no good. Straight up. Bums. Right? That's what they are. Right? And what else? Cowards. Right? That's what they are. All right. What else I got on this? It says how alcohol affect domestic abuse. To be perfectly clear, alcohol and alcoholism are never a sole trigger for a cause of domestic abuse. Rather, they are compounding factors. So, you know, they may be going through something and they're saying that the drinking is what trigger it, right? Okay. alcohol and domestic abuse statistic. The World Health Organization, the one who's over this COVID-19, they estimate that roughly 55% of domestic abuse perpetrators were drinking alcohol prior to the assault. 55%. That's a big number. Women who are abused are 15 times more likely to abuse alcohol. So the woman who are in this relationship, they say she are 15 times more now to abuse alcohol. So that makes her drink. 68% of the delinquent youths in Oregon treatment programs had witnessed their mother's abuse or been abused themselves. And so what? Of course, it rolls down to the children when things like this is happening in the house. What is the rate of alcoholic-related death? Alcohol is truly the bottle killer. That's what they call it, the bottle killer. Right? The World Health Organization estimates that the alcohol kills 3 million people throughout the world every year. 3 million people die from alcoholic use. Right? In other words, alcohol is the cause of 3% of all human death annually. About 1 in every 20 deaths worldwide is a result of alcoholic-related disease. Look, I'm going to tell you, and I ain't condoning nothing, but I have to put the comparison. I have never heard that smoking weed kill anybody. Right? But alcohol, crack, cocaine, all these kind of man-made drugs have fatalities. Right? And I ain't condoning it, but I'm just saying. Right? And it's a big deal with smoking smoking weed. Right? All right. What else I got here? It said every day in the United States, about 30 people lose their life in a car accident involving alcohol, and about 6 people die from alcoholic poisoning. In just 4 years, from 2006 to 2010, alcohol killed 88,000 Americans. Imagine that. So, alcohol killed 88,000 Americans. Right now, the numbers that says that people die from the COVID-19 is what, 200,000, something like that, a little over 200,000. Right? So, look how much people die from alcohol, right? And so now, ain't this a pandemic? Because they said 3 million people get killed a year, right? And so COVID-19 only killed 200,000 people, right? Right? And in 6 months, let's say 6 months. That's in America, I think. Right? And worldwide, how much? Maybe 3 million, maybe 2 million. Can't remember the number. This is a pandemic. Right? All right, what else I got? It says 88,000 Americans, costing the country 2.5 million years of potential human life. Moreover, the extreme consequences of alcoholic abuse are not diminishing. You hear that? Ain't going down. From 2007 to 2017, the number of alcohol-related deaths in the United States increased by 35%. Imagine during the COVID-19, how much percent it has increased. There are over 7 billion people on the planet, and about 2.3 billion of them may be classified as alcoholic consumers. A third of the people on this planet is alcoholic. That's a lot of people. It says, how can it be lethal? Since the death toll caused by alcohol abuse is so high, it is important to understand the ways in which alcohol can kill someone. The major causes of alcohol-related deaths are alcohol poisoning, cancer, car accident, heart failure, liver damage, and violence. Right? I'm gonna skip down all of them. We're gonna go to okay, we're going to do the car accident and we're going to do violence. It's fairly common knowledge that driving while drunk is dangerous, yet thousands of Americans drive under the influence of alcohol every year. Since alcohol impairs coordination and judgment, combining alcohol with driving poses a serious risk to everyone on the road. In 2017, 10,874 people in the United States lost their lives in car accidents in which at least one person had been drinking. Over 10,000 people. Violence. Drinking alcohol is related to higher rates of lethal violence. About 40% of criminals who are currently in prison for violent crimes such as assault and domestic abuse or homicide had an excessively high blood alcohol content when they were arrested. About 48% of homicide convicts committed murder under the influence of alcohol. See that? All right, so now let's go to scriptures. Let's find out what the Lord said about a drunkard and this drinking. Okay? All right, let's go. We're going to start this out in James 1, 14 and 15. James 1, 14 and 15. Because what is the root? Right? I'm going to show you a scripture that tells you what the root is. Right? We're going to break it down for you. James 1, we're going to read 14 and 15. And we didn't have to do a research to find this out. Right? All we had to do is read what our God told us. Right? Look what it says. 14 and 15. James 1, 14 and 15. Okay, no. Let me, I did say, no, let's add 13 in it. Right? Because you're going to hear what the Lord says. It says, let no man say. He said, don't let no man lie to you. He's a liar. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil. Neither tempted he any man. Right? He says, don't let no man tell you when he want to drink, right, that God is the one that tempted, because God can't be tempted with evil. Right? And what he ain't tempting you. Look, the Lord don't want you to die. So why would he tempt you? There is another one that tempt you. They call him the tempter, which is the devil. Look what else it says. But here it is now. But every man is tempted. This is what tempts a man. When he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Every man is tempted when he make up in his mind that that is what he wants. And then he go and he get it, and then he performs what it is he likes. Then he says, then when lust, right? Because look, this flesh wants everything. Right? It wants to drink, it wants to party, it wants the best clothes, it wants the new car, it wants to sleep with somebody over their wife, it wants to sleep with 3 different women. It wants everything. This flesh does. And this is what we're reading about the flesh. Right? This is the root of it. Right? It wanted it. It wants it. So it says. Right? Then when lust had conceived, it bringeth forth what? Sin. And when sin, and then sin, when it is finished, after you done that sin, after you done that drinking and abuse someone, it says it bring forth death. It bring forth death. You ain't gonna get away with that abuse when you domestically abuse someone and you kill someone and you kill a child and you do all this nonsense. Trust me. Yes, you might get away with it during this lifetime, but your time is coming. Drunkard and alcoholic, your time is coming, says the Lord. Next one, Ephesians 5 and 18. 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 Right? So don't let nobody fool you. Right? Don't let them fool you. 5 and 18. And be not drunk with wine, wherein excess, but be filled with what? The word. So he says, don't be full with wine. Don't be a drunkard in excess, meaning a drunkard, a drinker, all the time drinking. Right? But he says, be filled with the word, with the truth. Right? That's what it says. Proverbs 20 and 1. Proverbs 20 and 1. Proverbs 20 and 1. Right? Solomon, the wisest man. Proverbs 20 and 1. It says, wine is a mocker. You know what that means? It means that drink, it could creep up on you and it can fool you. Right? It's a mocker. Hey, you know what? Man, this thing's smooth. This thing's nice. I feel good. Give me another one. Give me another shot. And another one. Let me tell you, this is another story. But the one I'm going to tell you at the end is about me. But this is another story. Okay. You know, from Virgin Islands, St. Croix, and down there, we got cruise and rum, right? That the island make. And I remember going down, and I came back because you could come back with a certain amount, and it's duty free. And I remember a friend of mine came over, and he saw the bottle, and he was like, "Man, hey, what is that?" I said, well, there's some rum from the island. He was like, man, you know what? Hey, let me see what it tastes like. And I said, well, yeah, no problem. So I gave him some. And cause I brought it back just for display because I don't really drink. And so I gave him some. And he was like, man, can I get another one? He's like, I said, man, look, this thing don't play, man. It tastes good, but it'll creep up on you. And the thing about cruise and rum is it got a variety. It got pineapple, cherry, it got all sorts of different coconut. And the flavor is nice. Right? And he's swearing, oh man, don't worry about me. So now time for him to go home. Homeboy got up, boom, fell right down on his face. Right? That thing crippled on him and knocked him to his foot. Right? And he thought that he was in control because this alcohol don't play. Right? That's what alcohol does. Alright. So here it is. He says it's a mocker. It says strong drink is raging. Here, it's lively, right, when you get into you. And whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. You hear what alcohol will do? It will deceive you. Make you think that, well, you know what, hey, I got it. I'm in control of it. Right? Alcohol is a deceiver, just like Satan. Right? You will be deceived by this thing. And all these people that this thing happened to that we read, has been deceived by alcohol. Genesis 9, 20 and 21, right? And this was Noah. No, it wasn't Noah. Wait. Let's see. Who's this? Okay, Genesis 9. Let me double check. Yeah, this was Noah. Noah 9 and 20 and 21. Okay, this is something that happened when Noah was drinking. So let's go. 9, 20 and 21. And Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard. He planted some grapes. And he drank of the wine, and was drunken. And he was uncovered within his tent. And that's what happened. When you drink and you get drunk, you don't know what you You don't even know what's going on. What do you think? A lot of men does get these women drunk. They take them out, they get them drunk, and then do what? They abuse the woman, right? And rape the woman and all this nonsense. You know, I mean, if you have to do that to a woman, man, you follow it, right? If you can't use your mouth to talk to a woman, yeah, I ain't condoning it because fornication and all that stuff, the book talk about it. But if you can't talk to a woman, right, and make your move, then, man, I don't know what to say about you. You know what I'm saying? And this, I talk about these people who's in the world, who are not dealing with this book. Right? I ain't never used no influence. When I was in the world, I never used no influence to get no woman. I used right here, this mouth. Right? Never trick them. Never try to get them drunk. You know, you got men who slip an ecstasy inside a woman's glass and all these date drugs. Right? I actually seen for myself how this date drug work. We had in the islands, we got one named Spanish Fly. I just remember Spanish Fly. And I remember, I didn't even know, but we had we went to this festivities, right, that we call carnival. And we was at the carnival, and I remember we was hanging out. I was maybe about 16, 17, and all of a sudden I see this woman start stripping off all her clothes and just acting crazy. And when I hear this dude mumbling over, saying, "Man, somebody slip a Spanish Fly." Right? And that's the thing, man. I'm telling you. And so maybe this woman might have got a little tipsy, and somebody slipped that in her drink. But that's what I'm saying, man. And this is how people is, right? Because this is the sinful nature of man, and we read it, right? He's enticed and he's lost. He wants to do it. All right. And so this is what happened to Noah. He got drunk and he didn't know what happened. All right, let's go. 1 Corinthians 10 and 12. 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 Wherefore, let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. Right? I'm gonna put that into perspective. But it says, wherefore, let that person that thinketh that he stand, take heed lest he fall. Right? Right? And you know what this is? This is just these people who think that they're in control. They say, oh man, I got this. Then the next thing, boom, boom, boom. Somebody's dead, or they got in an accident, or something happened. Right? That's what this is talking about. Next one, let's go to Isaiah 5, 21 to 23. Isaiah 5, 21 to 23. Isaiah 5, 21 to 23. It says, woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Right? It follow up with what I just read. Right? Because to them, no, I ain't drunk. I remember a guy, I ain't even say his name, but this dude, oh my gosh, every time you see him, this dude was drunk. Every time. You know, I think he been to Alcohol Anonymous, he been to 12-step, he been every program you think of. Right? He got arrested for that, everything. Right? This dude lose money. And you know that when you get a DUI, that thing will cost you up to $5,000. Right? Every time you get caught, up to $5,000 to pay a lawyer, to pay all these things. And it's worse if you injure somebody with bodily harm. Okay, so Isaiah 5, we're going to read 1 to 13. Okay. Now, wait. No, I said 5:21 to 23. 21 to 23. Okay. Right, so it says, woe unto those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. It says, woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink. Right? It says, woe unto them. And when the Lord said woe unto them, that means punishment. Right? He's saving up a punishment for these people. Right? He says, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Right? Right? Because they drink and they got control of the mind, and this is what they do. 1 Peter 4, 3 and 4. 1 Peter 3, 3 and 4. 1 Peter 3, 3 and 4. First Peter 4, and we're going to read 3 and 4. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walk in lasciviousness, lust, excessive wine, reveling, partying, and wine. It goes hand in hand. Right? Banqueting, partying too, and abominable idolatries, wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excessive riot, and speaking evil of you. So you hear, reviling and excessive banquet and drinking, all that goes hand in hand. Right? But he says in time past, this is how we lived. Right? Not no more. You have to grow up. Right? And take life seriously. Luke 21 and 34. Luke 21 and 34. Luke 21 and 34. Luke 21 and 34. And take heed to yourself. It said, take heed to yourself, lest at any time your mind be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and the cares of this life. Okay, this scripture goes to what's going on with COVID-19. The cares of this life. Like I said, people losing their homes. People already lost their jobs. People are homeless. So now, what happens? You're spending more time with your family. You're spending more time with your wife and your husband and your children. And you're crawling up the wall. Right? And you're getting agitated over stupid, simple things. Right? And all this, and do what? And then who you take it out on? You go and you get that bottle and you drink, and then who you take it out on? Right? The cares of this life. Right? But we don't worry about the cares of this life. Right? Because our trust is in who? In God. Proverbs 23. Proverbs 23. Right? This is a good one. Proverbs 23. This is a good one. Right? Proverbs 23. Let's read 20 and 21. 20 and 21. Then 29 to 35. 20 and 21. Then 29 to 35. Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3. And you know what the funny thing is? That you got these drunkards. Sometimes they're walking around, you know, like in, man, you know, sometimes you can't even tell. You know, you got your co-workers and you got people who you see and your friends, and you don't even know that these people are like that. And these are the things that they're doing to their family. You don't even know. Until after if someone dies or the cops come around, and then you're like, oh man, you know, they were nice, did this and did that. But you know what the book says? It says, no man is good. None. None is good. Right? All man is wicked. Right? Yeah. You could try to do good. Right? And you could try to come out your sinful ways, but all man is wicked. Okay? So we said 20 and 21. No, Proverbs 23. All right? So we said 20 and 21. Proverbs 23, 20 and 21. Be not among wine bibbers. You will say, it said, don't hang around these drunkards. Right? It said, don't hang around these drunkards and alcoholic. Right? Listen to your Lord. So this is the reason why I say I can't tell this woman or this man what to do when they got one of these people in their life. But the book says don't be around them. Right? That's what it says. It says, be not among wine bibbers, among riot eaters of the flesh. Right? It says, for the drunkard and the glutton, people who eat in excess, shall come to poverty. How? Because every time he spent all his money on what? The bar. Every time he's at the bar, he's drinking, spending his money on alcohol. Baby needs some milk, and he spent the last money on a bottle of alcohol. Right? Right? And he said they will what? Come to poverty. Right? You know much people get impoverished because of drinking. He said, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. You hear that? That drunkenness, that always staggering and all that stuff. It says it gonna bring him to rags. Right? 29. Jump down to 29 to 35. Who had woe? Who had sorrow? Who had contention? Who had babbling? Who had wounds without cause? Who had redness of eyes? Ain't that a drunkard? Right? Let's roll it back. Who had content? Them drunkards always out there with just making all kind of noise, threatening people and saying this and saying that, because that is what drunkenness do to you. That's what drinking do to you. Your mouth run like a water faucet. Then he says, who had babbling? Right? Babbling and that goes together. Who had wounds? Right? You could drink, next thing you fall over, boom. You cut your knee, you're like, man, when did this happen? You don't even remember. Right? It's right without a cause. Right? He said, who had redness of eye? Because that's what drinking does. Alcoholic make your eyes red. Right? You think God didn't know? He said, they that tarry long, at wine, who always drinking, they that go to seek mixed wine, Cavassier and Hennessy and the stronger drink, look not thou upon the wine when it is red. So he said, don't look upon the wine when it's red. You know what that means? Because it look pretty, right? You ever notice that a bottle of Hennessy come in a nice case? What's the other one in the purple thing? I forgot the one. But it come in a nice little bag. You got Cavassier with the birds on it, and it just look pretty. The bottle is pretty, right? Because that's what they do to alcohol. It's pretty outside, but deadly inside. Pretty outside, but deadly inside. So he said, don't look upon the wine when it is red. When it give it his color in the cup, man. You ever seen an apple martini? Or a shot glass, or one of those pretty thing. When you go to the bar, they give it to you in that nice glass, looking real good. You be like, man, that drink looks good, right? That's what he's saying about this thing here, right? He said when it moves itself aright. You hear that? You know what that means when it moves itself aright? When it give you that buzz, right? Man, I'm nice. I feel good, right? That's what that is talking about, right? That's what he say about this alcohol. At the last, right? Hear what it do now when it get in your system. At the last, it bite it like a snake, right? When a snake bites you, right? And I heard when a snake bites you, it's like hot. It's warm from the venom. And it sting it like an adder, right? Like an adder, right? That is what the alcohol do to you when it get into that system. You hear what it does? You would know. This guy don't play. No, listen to this one. Hear what he said. Hear what he said. Thine eyes shall behold strange woman. You know what I mean? Right? And let me tell you what it means, right? And this is from When I Wanted the Truth. You hear what he says? He says when that drink get into you, even a big ugly woman seem pretty and nice, right? That's what it said, right? This is what they're talking about, right? And I've seen with my own eyes men take home all kind of stuff that, you know, it's like, whoa. And, you know, look, I ain't saying because, you know, I can't be calling people name and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, back then is what I'm talking about. Now it's totally different, right? But that's what it's saying. I just explained it to you because of the experience, right? Right? And thy eyes shall behold strange woman, and thine heart shall utter perverse things, right? You hear that? And all this perverseness will come out of what? Out of here, out your mind. That is the effects of alcohol on the brain. Right? The effects of alcohol on the brain is the same as drugs on the brains. Let's go. Genesis 19, right? I'm going to show you another incident, right, that happened between one of our forefathers. Genesis 19. And we're going to read 31 to 36. Genesis 19, 31 to 36. And I got a couple more story I'm going to show you from the scriptures. So 19, Genesis 19, we're going to read 31 to 36. 19, 31 to 36. It says, and the firstborn said unto the younger. So, this is Abraham, right? And, okay. This is after what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, right? When God came and he fired brimstone and everything. And so he had got them out of the city, and Abraham and Lot and all of them was out, right? And this is a thing that happened because Abraham's two daughters, right? Lot two daughters, sorry. Lot two daughters, Abraham's brother. His two daughters. And Lot went out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountains, and his daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his two daughters. Right? And the firstborn said unto the younger, right? So the first daughter said unto the youngest one, right? The oldest one said to the youngest one, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. And the reason why these two women said that is because when the Lord came down fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, because these men were sleeping with men, all the people died. So here it is, they're saying it is not another man that we could sleep with so we could get children. And so now this is what they did to Lot, their father. He says, come, let us make our father drink wine. You hear what they did? They said, let us drunk off our father, so he don't know what we're going to do to him. And that is the effects of alcohol. This is what people do when you're at the bar, women especially, right? That's what men do, right? And so he said, come, let us make our father drunk with wine, and we will lie with him, right? Ain't that's like a rape, right? And that is what people do, right? They spike your drink, they make you drink alcohol, they drunk you off, and then this is what happened, right? And they lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father, right? That's what it said. And they made their father drunk with wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay with him. He didn't even know that she lay with him. That's how drunk they made him. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. He was drunk. And it came to pass on the morning, on the morrow, which is morning, that the firstborn, now is her turn, said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight. Oh, so the first went, and so now second. I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drunk with wine this night also, and go thou in your turn, and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father, so we could get children. And they made their fathers drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. He probably like, wait a minute, all the men died from when the Lord bring down fire and brimstone. Who pregnant my daughters? Right? That is the effect of alcohol. Right? He said, thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bare a son and called his name Moab. Right? And that's where the Moabites came from. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger, she also bare a son and called his name Benjamin. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. Right? And so that is the effects of alcohol, my people. Alright, I got more. Let's go to Hosea 4 and 11. Hosea 4 and 11. Hosea 4 and 11. Hosea 4 and 11. It says, whoredom and wine and new wine, take it away your mind. Whoredom and wine and new wine, take it away this. We read in the thing what it says, that it makes you impaired. It makes you out your mind. You don't know what you're doing. Your judgment and your timing is off. That's what it says. It's right there in the book. They had to get this from here, because this was here before that. Alright, now we're going to show you something that the patriarch David did. Right? We're going to show you what he did. I got two stories I'm going to show you on that. After that, that's it. Let's go to 2 Samuel. Let's go to the first one. 2 Samuel. We're going to read chapter 11, 1 to 13. 2 Samuel 11. 2 Samuel 11, we're going to read 1 to 13. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon. Right? So you hear who he destroyed? He destroyed one of Lot's children. And it came to pass in the evening tide that David arose from off his bed. So now, this is wartime. David was king, and so he sent these men to battle. So now, one night he got up in the evening tide. Something must be, maybe he had a dream, whatever, got him up, whatever. He arose from his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. So he walked upon the roof. While he was on the roof, and from the roof he saw a woman taking a bath. And the woman was very beautiful to look upon. He was like, wow, what a fine woman down there taking a bath. David. And David sent and inquired after the woman. See that? Man, hey, somebody, go find out who this woman is, man. This woman fine. And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? So this is what they tell David, because Uriah means something to David, right? But let's find out if it mattered to David. And David sent messengers and took her. Didn't matter. He sent messenger and tell his woman, hey, the king wants you. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her. For she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house, clean herself up. So he slept with this woman, and she returned to her house. And the woman conceived, got pregnant, and sent and told David and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, send me Uriah the Hittite. You remember? Because we came in at the king and this was wartime. So he says, go and send for Uriah. Why David said to go and get Uriah after he pregnant his wife? Let's find out. And Joab sent Uriah to David. Right, so now he sent him to David. And when Uriah came, and when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did. He said, man, tell me how the war is going, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, go down to your house. What? He tell him go down to his house because he know the dirty deed that he did. Right? David knew the dirty deed that he did. So he tell him, go down to your house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house. Right? So he left the king's house. Let's find out if he went down to his own house. And there followed him a mess of meat from the king. So now, see what the king do and see what people do. So be leery of people when they start giving you things. Right? So they send Uriah a mess of meat. They're like, hey, here's some gift. This David sent these to you. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house. He didn't go home. With all the servants of his lords, and went not down to his house. So he slept with his men. Right? He stayed with them and he hung out with his men. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst not thou go down to thine house? He said, you come from this long journey and you was out there fighting. Why didn't you go home? Right? Why David want him to go home so bad? Because of his dirty deeds. Now let's find out. And Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into mine own house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife, as thou livest and as thou soul liveth? I will not do this thing. Right? Because he wanted him to go and sleep with his wife, so he could say that it's his child, not David. David knows he pregnant this woman, but he wanted Uriah to go and sleep with his wife so he could put it on him and say, well, he's the father. You think that has stopped up to this day, Israel? No, it has not. Not no under the sun. And David said to Uriah, tarry here today also, and tomorrow, and will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. See what David did to him? He made him drunk. And at evening, he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house. Even he got him drunk. Right? He did not go down to his house. But I'm going to stop it there. You go ahead and read it. This 2 Samuel 11. Right? Pick it up from verse 14 and you're going to find out what happened. Right? That's your homework. All right. Now let's go to the next one. Let's back it up. Right? Because this is David again. Right? But David was on the good side of this one, because it was this other dude that was ill. 1 Samuel 25. We're going to read 1 to 6, 9 to 19, 23 to 28, then 32 to 38. So 1 Samuel 25, 1 to 6, 9 to 19, 23 to 28, and 32 to 38. Let's find out again what happened here. 25. All right, so 1 to 6. 25, 1 to 6. And Samuel died, and all Israel and all the Israelites were gathered together, and lamented him, and buried him in his house at Ramah. And David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran, Right? So David went down. And there was a man in Maon whose possession were in Carmel. And the man was very great. And he had 3,000 sheep, 1,000 goats, and he was sharing his camel in Carmel. So this dude was rich. Right? You had this many back then, he was rich. Now the name of the man was Nabal. That's his name, Nabal, like your belly button almost. Nabal. And the name of his wife, Abigail. And she was a woman of good understanding. She was a woman of good understanding. This was a black woman. Good understanding. These days, hard to find this kind of woman. This was a woman of good understanding. And we're going to find out why she had this good understanding. What made it so good. And of a beautiful countenance. She wasn't just wise, but she was also beautiful. Great, beautiful. But the man was churlish. Her husband, he was an idiot. And evil in his doing. And he was of the house of Caleb. He was black. He was a black man. Because you hear what he says? The Israelites. All these was black men. Back then, it was nothing but us, black folks. And David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep. So he heard that he was shearing his sheep. David heard this. And David sent out 10 young men. So David sent out 10 of his young men. Because you remember he's king. And David said unto the young men, get you up to Carmel and go to Nabal and greet him in my name. Right? And thus shall ye say to him that liveth in prosperity. He said, tell this dude that who's prospering, who live in prosperity, peace be both to thee, and peace be to thine house, and peace be unto all that thou hast. So David said, go and tell this dude, I wish him peace, all the best, hope everything is well. And now I have heard that thou hast shearers. Now thy shepherds, which were with us, we heard them not. So he tell him this. He says, I heard you had shearers. He says, and your shepherds, they was with us and we didn't hurt them. We took care of them. Right? Neither was there aught missing unto them all the while we were in Carmel. He said, not one of the sheep got taken, either by a lion or somebody that's come and steal the sheep. Nah, we protected them. That's what David said. Ask thy young men, and they will show thee. He said, ask these young men who was taking care of your stuff, and they will tell you. Wherefore, let the young men find favor in thine eyes, for we come in a good day. Give, I pray thee, whatsoever cometh to thine hand, unto thy servant and to thy son David. He says, we come, we took care of them. If you feel like giving us something, do that. Now, and when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all the words in the name of David, and then they left. So they told him everything David said. And Nabal answered David's servants and said, so this is what he answered them and said, who is this David? Man, who is this David? Right? Who is this David? And who is the son of Jesse? So who is his father? Who is this Jesse? He said, there be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master. He said, you got a lot of people these days that leave their master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my shearer and give it unto men, whom I know not whence they be? He says, man, these they leave, He says, should I give them my sheep and my ox and my thing that I earn? Right? He said, I don't know who this David is, who you think he is. I ain't giving him nothing. So David's young men turned their way and went again, and came and told him all the sayings. And David said unto his men, gird ye every man his sword. David was pissed. So he told him, gird every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword, and David also girded on his sword. This mean what? And there went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by the stuff. But one of the young men told Abigail, so that means Nabal's wife knew one of David's people. And so he told Abigail what David was about to do. Nabal's wife saying, behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them. So that's why he's telling Abigail, right? He said, man, David sent us over to just, to bid him peace and everything. And he railed. he went off on us. But the men were very, very good unto us. So the guy was saying, but no, the men was good unto us. And we were not hurt, neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant with them when we were in the field. He said, man, they took care of us, nothing happened to us. They were protection. They were a wall unto us, both by night and day, all the while we were with them, keeping the sheep. That's what the men tell Abigail, right? That David's men were like this. Now therefore, know and consider what thou wilt do, for evil is determined against our master. That's what they told. Because remember now, she's of good understanding. So now David, servant, tell her what happened, right? That what her husband did. He said, let not my lord, wait. He says, and when Abigail saw David, 22. So and more also to God unto the enemies of David, if I leave of all that pertain to him by the morning light, any that piss it away against the wall. So David said, man, I'm going to kill all of them. Right? Because they disrespect me. That's what David is saying. And when Abigail saw David, she hasted and lighted off the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground and fell at his feet and said, upon me, my lord, upon me, let this iniquity be. Right? So she said, David, man, please let this thing that my husband do, lay fall upon me. Do what you want to me, but don't do it to my husband. This is what Abigail said. And let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thine audience and hear the words of thine handmaid. So she said, permit me to speak, king. I want to plead my case. I got something to tell you. He says, let not my lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial. So she said, man, don't study this idiot, my husband. Right? Of who? The devil. That's who Belial. He says, even Nabal, for even his name is so. He said, for as his name is, so is he. He said, Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. You hear what Abigail pleading to David telling? He said, this dude is crazy. He out of his mind. He just talking all kind of nonsense. But she said, let it fall upon me. Right? But I, thine handmaid, saw not the young men of my lord, whom thou didst send. She said, but when they came, I didn't see them. Because if I did, we wouldn't have mistreated them like my husband did. This is what Abigail is saying. She said, now therefore, my lord, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, seeing the Lord had withholden thee from coming to shed blood. She said, seeing that your God had kept you from coming to shed blood, right? Which he did, but she tried to soften up by saying that. And from avenging thyself with thine own hand. Now let thine enemies and they that seek evil to my Lord be as Nabal. Right? So she said, them that seek, he said, let them be as like idiot Nabal. And now this blessing with thine handmaid had brought unto my Lord. Let it even be given unto the young men that follow my Lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thine handmaid. So she's begging, forgive the trespass. My husband did it. For the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord fighteth the battle of the Lord, and evil had not been found in thee all thy day. So here she sweet talking David. Yet a man is risen to pursue thee and to seek thy soul, but the soul of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of life with the Lord thy God, and the soul of thine enemies. So she's saying, let the Lord deal with him when it's time. Them shall be sling out as out of the middle of a sling. And it shall come to pass, wait, I said I was going to jump, right? But I was reading through. Yes, I'm reading all the way through to 38. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord shall have done to my Lord according to all the good that he had spoken concerning thee, and shall have appointed thee ruler over Israel, that this shall be no grief unto thee. Because she even know that David was going to be king over Israel. So she said, don't let this trouble you. When you're king, don't come and put your weight down on us. No offense of heart unto my Lord. She said, don't do what you're going to do to him, right? After you become king. Either thou hast shed blood causeless. She's saying that it's causeless. Or that my Lord had avenged himself. But when the Lord shall have dealt well with my Lord, then remember thy handmaid. He said, when you come to do what you're going to do to my husband Nabal, he says, remember what you said to me. Right? The good words that you said. And David said to Abigail, blessed be the Lord of Israel, which sent thee this day to meet me. You hear what he said? He said, blessed be the Lord, our God, who sent you today to come and stop me from killing your husband Nahab. That is what she said. And blessed be thy advice, and blessed be thou, which has kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and from avenging myself with mine own hand. For in very deeds, as the Lord God of Israel liveth, which had kept me back from hurting thee, except thou hadst hasted and come to meet me, surely they had not been left unto Nabal by the morning light, and any that pissed against the wall. So you hear what he says? He says, ain't nobody would have been alive in the morning after I would have been done with Nabal and his people. So David received of her hand that which he had brought him, and said unto her, go up in peace to thine house. See, I have hearkened to thy voice, and have accepted thy person. And Abigail called to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunkard. So we know we was dealing with an idiot who was a drunkard. Right? And that's the reason why he said what he said, because he was a babbler, just like the scriptures we read, talking out of his ear, right? For he was very drunkard. Wherefore she told him nothing. So she said, man, I ain't going to tell this idiot anything because he's drunk. Right now, he going to do whatever. He might even domestic abuse me. Right? So she said, she didn't tell him anything. Least or more until the morning light. Right? Why? So he could sober up. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, yes, when he sober up, his wife had told him these things, that his heart died with him. Right? So his heart died with him. Right? He got scared. He was like, whoa. And he became as a stone. And it came to pass about 10 days after that the Lord smote Nabal that he died. Right? So 10 days later the Lord smote Nabal the idiot, and he died. So you could go back and you could read the rest of this story because it's good. Right? And that is the end of the lesson. Right? And this thing is about a drunkard and a alcoholic. And if you fit the bill, get yourself some help. Right? Because there's a lot of people in your life that you will hurt, and you will hurt. Right? And you will get hurt. Right? And so now, let me tell you the story that happened to me. So, on my, what birthday that was? It don't matter. So that day, my best partner came. He was like, man, hey, it's your birthday. Let's go out. Let's get some drink. Let's hang out or whatever. Right? That's before I was dealing with this. I was like, yeah, let's do it because we do it from time to time. That's when I used to celebrate my birthday. Even that's one of the reasons I don't even do. So we went, right, and we went out to this club we call Bob Marley, right, and it's like a nice little reggae club, real nice club. We went out to Bob Marley, and so we at the bar, and he was like, man, hey, take the first drink, right? And so even before I came, I had drank 2 Heinekens because that's what I drink, and I ain't no drink. I might drink 1, maybe 2. So no, we got out to Bob Marley, and I was nice, and he was like, man, come, your first drink on me. So he bought me the drink it's got 5 different drinks in it. It's the Long Island iced tea. That's what it was. Long Island iced tea. So now I don't drink these 2 beers, and now he gave me the first one, like, man, everything cool, man, having a good time. He said, man, that drink done, man, here's another one. I was like, man, I don't drink like this, man. Right? And I drank that one, and then he was like, man, here's another one. So I drank 3 Long Island iced tea plus the Heineken. And beer and Heineken, you mix those two, man. So now, the club finished, everything cool. So we walking out, we messing with these women, and we talking, and we having a good time. So now, we parked our car in a certain area, and so you know we going onto the car, and everything's still cool. You know, it was an elevator, and I don't know if it was the same day, but I remember somebody was coming down this escalator and they fell head first down, and we started laughing. I was like, man, this person might be drunk. And so maybe they say karma, it comes back. But anyway, so now I came down and we go into the car. I was talking. We're like, man, you know, thank you for you know, good birthday, blah 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 blah. Now he got in his car. He took off. And so now I'm here at the car, and I ain't lying, dude. I was trying to open my car for about 5 minutes. I mean, I'm trying to open the car. I can't get the car open. And that ain't because something wrong with the lock. I couldn't find the lock. You know, I got the key and man, I couldn't find the lock. I'm telling you. That's how messed up I was. So then, all of a sudden, I heard this police was close by. He was like, man, everything all right? And I was like, yeah, man, everything is cool, you know. And then he like, something has happened, and he went to handle his business. So now I'm gonna tell you, I got inside the truck, got in my truck, and the next thing I remember is that I was in the hospital, right? I remember I was in the hospital. I was on one of them gurney, and I remember seeing, you know, the lights and people over me and whatnot. And I was in and out. And I remember they saying, you got anybody that can come and pick you up? And I was like, well, yeah, you know, my sister could come and get me. And I gave them her number. I remember that. And after that, don't remember nothing. Don't remember nothing. So the next day, I got up, sober up, everything. I was at my sister's house, and I was like, man, yeah. Right? And I didn't even remember my car was at the club. So now I was like, man, I gotta go and get my car before they tow my car or whatnot. So now I got to my car, opened the door, got in my car. Let me tell you what happened. Put my keys inside the ignition, and I cranked the car. Man, everything was going up. The wiper blade was doing this, bump, the hazard light, the horn was going off, everything. Man, I never experienced nothing like that before. And like I said, I wasn't a drinker, but that day I was like, okay, let me do this. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't really peer pressure, because I was a person who, you can't influence it so easy. But, you know, like I said, it was my birthday, and I was like, yeah, you know, having a good time. And so, that is the effects of alcohol, I'm telling you. I could guarantee it, if I had took off in that car that night, I don't think I would have made it home. Right? But like I said, it was crazy. That was the scariest time I ever had in my life. From that day, never catch me again. You know, I still drink my Heineken from time to time, but you will never catch me drinking like that again. Because that is what alcohol do to you. So I hope you get some understanding from this, and now I can look back at it and I can laugh. But it ain't no joking matter, because I could have hurt somebody, or I could have killed myself. So I hope you get some understanding from this lesson. My name is Danny Israel from Israel's Vineyard.